Well, any good investor knows that you can't time the market. That's not a real thing. But Newsmax Finance says you can time your retirement. So, Dolph, does that mean that we're supposed to try to plan our retirement date around market conditions? Because that seems like a full-time job in itself.
I sure heck hope not. I mean, I look back at Greg and Leslie, two clients of mine that came in about 2 years ago. And Greg is a successful, I'm going to call him an entrepreneur salesman who works for this large company I can't name and does a lot of traveling. And Leslie's an executive, and she works basically out of home. And they've been doing very well with their portfolio over a lot of years. And then came the little bit of turmoil when we first met. And then their portfolio started rising and going up and down, up and down. And they got a little nervous because they were shooting for 2020 to retire. And so we came into them and we ran the Where Do I Stand plan. And we started looking at it. And I remember specifically because Greg's like, I'm trying to time this thing because I want my money, I want my accounts to get to this level. Mm-hmm. And I said, what if you didn't have to worry about that?
That would be nice.
And he's like, what do you mean? I said, well, let's play blackjack for a minute. You ever played blackjack? And he's like, I've never win. And so we did the analogy blackjack. I said, I put out a fake $100 bill and a fake $50 bill. And I said, Greg, every time you win, I'm going to give you $50, but every time you lose, that money's going to stay there. Are you going to stay at that blackjack table? And he goes, I think I might stay here for a long time. And then I looked at Leslie and I said, hey, let's play roulette. Let's put $50 on black. Every time black comes in, I'm going to give you $25, but every time red comes in, your money's going to stay there. How long are you going to play roulette for? She's like, I'm never going to change. And they're like, well, what are you trying to get at here, Dolph? And I'm like, well, let's layer your strategies and create the income that you guys deserve and the income that you want. They wanted $8,000 a year in income on top of Social Security. Big task at hand to do in 2 years. So what we were doing is layering it where we can delay Social Security because they were 60. Now they're both turning 62, 63, and plan that Social Security come out at 66 years old. So when they hit 66 years old, their income's going to be well over $14,000 a month. So after basically, long story short, is we planned a 2-year plan. We're happily now, Greg's retiring. I think he came in last week. He said, I'm down to 108 days. So I guess that puts him somewhere in June. Mm-hmm. We'll have a party for him. They're going to retire a year earlier because their income needs were met, and they knew with the strategies we had what their guarantees were for lifetime income. So now they had no longer, for the last 2 years, they haven't looked at the market one time. And when we went to lunch a couple of weeks ago for their annual review, and they said, Dolph, the best thing was we've never had to look through what happened in 2018 for the first 3 months of the year where we had a lot of our friends were losing 5, 10, 15, 18%, and then it came back, and then at the end of the year it went down again. And how much sleep they were losing. And so that was so nice. We never have to worry about the downside because we know where we're at right now. And that was the whole thing about instead of trying to plan for their retirement and worry about planning for the retirement, they knew the retirement was already set. And happy to say they get to retire a year earlier and get to enjoy the rest of their life going forward.
It's all about that planning every single time. That's the point here is you've got to be ready for the what ifs because market conditions are something you cannot time. It's impossible. And if someone's telling you they can, either they're lying or they're crazy. It's one of the two because it's not possible. So where do you stand with your retirement now? What about moving forward in the future when the market changes with all the swings and you have to retire during that time? Have Dolph do a Where Do I Stand plan for you. Sit down with him for about an hour, get to know each other, talk about the things that are important to you, talk about the numbers you're comfortable talking about. When you leave, Dolph will take that information and spend quite a few hours putting together an income plan for you, doing a second opinion of everything, a detailed analysis of your risk tolerance, running your Social Security benefit options, using his tax mapping software, looking at possible health care cost and long-term care cost as those continue to rise. What's best for you? RMDs, inflation. Dolph will do all of those things to help you find out if you have the right retirement income plan to fit your needs and wants now and in the future. 704-919-0149.